something up. The devices of power and its minions are the same in all countries and in all ages. It marks its victim, denounces it, and excites the public hatred to conceal its own abuses and encroachments.
Why did they
That's what happened here.
Why did they do this to you? Why were they there in the first place? You got about a minute to tell us. Why were they there? Why even bother you?
Good question. I don't know. There's many different reasons. I look at it from a spiritual standpoint, that David Koresh had a very powerful message, and according to the scripture, the forces of the beast power or the world power will always fight against the people that are spiritually endowed somewhat.
It's happening right now.
It's happening all over the place.
We see a tremendous grab by the Strobe Talbots and the Bill and Hillarys and the one world government people. They're trying to grab everything on earth and turn the people of the United States into literally peasants by taking their jobs away.
Let me tell you what we found there real quick while I still have a minute. The CS gas, for a fact, when that burns, it turns into 3 different compounds, one being cyanide. Right. So CS gas actually burns into cyanide. We just found, I just talked to the people down there today, a small pelvic bone of a small girl was found out there on the property recently. Cartridges for gas masks were found. Now they have different color cartridges depending on the gas they're dealing with. There were 4 purple cartridges found. Now the purple cartridges deal specifically with cyanide. When you have a purple cartridge on your gas mask, that is because there's going to be cyanide in the area, from my understanding, and we did not have any purple cartridges there.
Did the government know that there was cyanide?
I don't know. I believe that they did know personally. I have heard. Of course, there's a documentary coming out on September 19th that's supposed to be very good. A man named David Hall has put together. You spoke with him.
We're going to have the videotape available through this organization also.
Yeah, I understand that he has received a letter from some of the chemical companies that they had actually written the FBI and told them how harmful CS gas was, and definitely never to use it in a contained area. It's only for a riot control situation.
Outside.
That's right.
In other words, the FBI knew that when they pumped that gas inside, and they used as a propellant, I understand, alcohol and acetone, which is super flammable. So what they were doing is pumping inside the absolute ingredients for death by fire and death by cyanide and CS. David Tibodeau, what a shame. David Tibodeau is with us. David, after the massacre, the press forgot about you, didn't they?
Sure.
Why?
Well, my opinion is that it was not a politically correct situation. As you were saying on your show the other day, the press likes to focus on things that isn't going to hurt anybody politically. For example, the O.J. Simpson case. This would have hurt a lot of people politically if the truth were to have come out, and it just shows the power of big money and big politics and media conjoined together. It shows really, truly what lack of freedom of the press and lack of freedom of religion we have, and how far off the Constitution we have become as a governing nation and a world power.
If the truth got out, if your side of the story was really out, who would be hurt?
Clinton, Reno, I would say a number of people at the FBI, all the way up to the top, a lot of the negotiators, probably Sage and Jamar, for sure, no doubt about it, the ATF leaders of the raid, Davey Aguilera, Cognac, Sarabins, some of these gentlemen that helped to stage this whole raid and who actually falsified documents after February 28th to change their stories. Definitely these people would be hurt.
In my opinion, this was the same kind of murder that Hitler and his stormtroopers did to the Jews at the Holocaust. In my opinion, this was an American Holocaust. And on the very day that Waco, Texas, Mount Carmel burned, Bill Clinton was addressing reporters in front of the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I was. That's just amazing.
Well, what are your comments?
It does show, of course, scripturally, in Scripture, the amazing thing about that book is everything happens for a reason. There is a time schedule and a timetable, and there's something to be said. There's a lot of symbolism in this country that we incorporate, especially in big government, and there's a lot that has to do with dates. Lexington, Concord, these all occurred around April, the same period of time. The Holocaust Museum, what was going on in Nazi Germany, with the Warsaw Ghetto occurred on the same date as well. It's just a black mark in history. And this is the blackest mark that this nation has ever seen. And I think it's really too bad that the American public, some of them, and I'm not saying everyone, because I've met a lot of people who have woken up and who are becoming aware, but that the vast majority, it seems, buys the rhetoric, doesn't really want to get to the truth. I don't know if it's out of their own fears, but I don't know if they can't look themselves in the mirror or they just don't want to know. But it appears that a lot of people just can't accept what is going on. We have to accept it because we're losing our nation.
Well, I think we have the situation that the people had during Nazi Germany. First, of course, the stormtroopers came for the Jews, and nobody worried because, gee, I'm not a Jew. Then they came for the trade unionists. Nobody worried because they weren't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and then they came for the business people. The point of it is, so many people will huddle in their home and say, "Please, Lord, not me." And what they don't understand is they're next.
Exactly. I came across a fax that I thought was very interesting. It just showed me how people are disgusted with what is going on, and they want to take matters into their own hands. I came across a fax that had Ron Horiuchi's home address and phone number, and Ron Horiuchi, of course, was the sniper that was at Ruby Ridge in Idaho that killed Vicki Weaver.
Yeah.
We also have it on good authority that he was there at Mount Carmel as well. Someone found out all his neighbors, put it on a fax, and sent out that fax with all his neighbors' addresses. So, anyone who got that fax who wanted to write his neighbors could tell them they're living next door to a murderer, in essence. And it's amazing that that's finally what it has to come down to. I don't foresee getting anywhere politically, getting anywhere through Congress. I mean, the Whitewater hearings. No. I saw those Clinton Chronicle tapes, and I was blown away with the information. That is a very good tape, those Clinton Chronicles, and when you find out what is truly going on in the depth of it all, it's just amazing.
What we have right now in the United States is essentially kind of an underground. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
It's kind of an underground of information and trying to search for the truth. And when you look at the first edition of the Whitewater hearings, and you see this guy, Lloyd Cutler, who is the consummate corporate apologist, sitting up there and just babble, and putting everybody to sleep. I doubt if anybody will ever watch any more of the Whitewater hearings because, this is the way you cover things up. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a machine. It is an evil machine, and it is both a Republican and a Democrat machine. I am not partisan here. It is a machine of the elite that want to protect a very corrupt system of lobbyists buying Congress and no concern for the little people of America. And I am frightened that eventually it will blow up. I am.
You notice how
I don't want that.
You notice how they never do anything wrong, and it seems that they're so concerned with praising each other that they never get to the facts of what is going on. They're just so busy praising one another. Like when I just saw those congressional hearings on Waco, I have tried to watch them all the way through. I can't. I get so upset with what I'm seeing and how Congress is reacting to this whole thing.
Why weren't you there?
I was never asked. I was not allowed.